America is approaching the 100-day mark of Donald Trump's presidency. A lot has happened in the country since January 20th, when Trump assumed power for a second term. The mountain of executive orders and the pushback against its institutional reforms has been making headlines ever since. Opinion polls also reflect a downward trend for the Republican leader. The latest Reuters Ipsos poll demographically divides the survey on Trump's performance as president. In the African American community, only 17% approve of Trump's overall performance. That's the performance of Donald Trump ever since he assumed power. If you look at the blacks in America, 17% approve of Donald Trump's performance. The Hispanic, only 34% approve of Donald Trump's performance. And the whites, only 50% approve of Donald Trump's performance. So this is the overall approval rating of Donald Trump since he assumed power. On Trump's stewardship of the economy, only 13% of African Americans approve of his steering the economy. 29% of Hispanics in the United States approve of Donald Trump's handling of the economy, and 45% of the white population in America approve of Donald Trump's handling of the economy. So that is how the economy looks like. Let's listen into what Americans have to say about their trust on their president.
Trade war is not good for anybody, because the most important is the trust, the confidence of the market, and is what is going to affect us all. If it's the market failed, it could be a big problem. Still using a lot of Chinese products, but the biggest providers come from different countries.
Well, the final major issue on the list is immigration crackdown. Only 20% of African Americans approve of what Trump is doing about the immigration policy in America. Only 33% of Hispanics in America approve of what Donald Trump is doing on the crackdown of immigration in America. And the white population in America, 54% approve of what Trump is doing about immigration in America. So that is what Americans think about their president ever since he assumed office. The US president's order to carry out America's largest deportation in the country's history has been met with deterrence for the way authorities are cracking down, not just on illegal immigrants, but on legal ones too. Other polls on Donald Trump's first 100 days in office also show a downward trend. Some surveys show the worst rating any president has received for his 100-day mark in more than 70 years. Across surveys, Trump's rating has fallen well below 50% overall, and in some, it has also fallen below 40%. However, a substantial number of Americans still back the US president's approach and policy decisions, saying that the administration needs to be given more time for actual impact to be realized.
There are two people. Do they work? Who do they work for? Where are they? Where have they been working? Have they been working for other companies or other entities at all?
I'm in love. I'm like so overwhelmed for all the things that he's doing that I don't know. I mean, it's like a movie. It's energy. It's a good thing. And I know there's a lot of people that don't like what he's doing, but I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think it's not that they don't like what he's doing. They have this hatred.
Well, let's now talk to our correspondent, Susan Teherani, who's now joining us live from New York. Susan Teherani, good to see you. 100 days is slowly approaching for Donald Trump, but it doesn't look good for the president when it comes to approvals.
No, we'll take the polls with a grain of salt, as we always have. If you remember this election, the previous election, poll numbers are part of the equation, but there is no doubt that President Trump is not winning the confidence of the majority of Americans when it comes to the economy. Now, whether or not they see it in their everyday lives right now, that's not the point. Perception is so important in these tariff wars, in the fact that he says that negotiations are continuing, which they may. But when you don't have something tangible to present to the American people and then hit them with this sort of tariff conflict around the world, while many really like the idea that everything is going to be made in the United States, if you go towards protectionism, as sometimes it seems President Trump is going towards isolationism, on the economy, Americans aren't on the same page. When it comes to the issue of immigration, he's faring a little bit better. I think he sees that as a win in his second administration, just because if you look at the reporters standing in front of the White House lawn, reporting from the White House, you see the lawn is filled with the illegal migrants who have been arrested, the pictures of them. So he really wants to put the immigration issue front and center. But nonetheless, just the sense of uncertainty, I think, is getting to a lot of Americans. And it's not those Americans that love him unconditionally. There's about 40% of Americans that are like that. Mm-hmm. This is the rest of the country where they're not glued to their television and newspapers every single day monitoring policy and hearing sound bites. These are people that are just, in passing hearing things, and they're concerned.
Mm-hmm. They are indeed concerned. Susan, good to see you. We'll have to leave it there.
Yeah.
Thank you.